all of you. I do believe that the same hall was a great party place last night, and I've been very aptly reminded that if I'd come in a little earlier, means the previous night, it would have been a lot more interesting conversation. Clearly, Kumar is, keeping everybody on their toes, and for me to come and have this conversation, and I'm repeating the word conversation because I have no intention of making it a monologue. The more participative you are, the more I learn from you, and more I'm able to share my experiences. I looked at the NASSCOM initiatives on startups. I looked at the 11th year of RetechCon, and and the first time, all of us are, fast readers. We skip reading. We do skip reading. And my first time when I read the invitation, I read it as retech.com, which is good. Which really reflected what we are talking. And the thought that came to my mind was that, what are my experiences as a guy who heads the largest technology association of India, the guy who heads one of the largest technology companies in India, or a guy who has always had a few fights at home, and every fight was around shopping, which some of you guys call it as retail therapy or whatever. So then the second reflection was, maybe I should think about Mahindra's experience of their stores, Mom and Me. What is it that worked well? They chose a nice niche, they chose a nice segment. They ended up, started with a brick, they went up to almost 150 stores, decided to consolidate a bit, they came to 120 stores. Meanwhile, also realized that it's not only the brick world, it is also the click world. So they acquired, Mahindra's acquired Baby Oy. And, should we talk about that experience? Or look at an experience of a 24-year-old son who worked for Amazon for a year, after that decided that he wants to come back to India from Seattle. So my son Ashish Gurnani and his classmate in college, both of them came back to India and they said, Dad, I want to start an online apparel retail store. And I said, one more. Right? And I also realized that this one has got no friends and family funding. It is only Bank of CP Gurnani funding it. So, but I said, all right, let's look at it. Ultimately we are all talking about the retail experience and a technology experience. And if it is retail and technology experience, let's try and learn from the past. It's not that you and I, when we were growing up, we didn't have our own retail experiences. Maybe we didn't have technology dictating everything, but there was always a shop somewhere. There was always a flea market somewhere. There was always a mela somewhere. There was always a e-commerce the commerce happening. And that time, M-commerce was called mobile, not called mobile commerce, it was called money commerce. And the point I'm trying to make is entrepreneurship, retail, shopping has always been part of our DNA. And if it is part of our DNA, the question that we have to all ask is, what has changed over a period of time? Because there was always a seller, there was always a customer. And there was a marriage between a customer and customer and a seller happening. Earlier, your technology, the business intelligence was here. Because the guy knew that if he prices his bread, at zero margin, the person will be attracted to come to his shop, and he may end up selling butter, jam, whatever. I mean, he always knew that he will make money in add-ons. He didn't think about aisle displays, or he didn't think about, branding at that point of time. I mean, to him, the branding was his knowledge of the customer that he knew. And it happened in every aspect of our life. I mean, it was the store, it was not only the store next door, it was the medical guy, it was the doctor, it was everywhere. But overall, the explosion of the market, the rate of the growth of the market, it clearly became evident that that same model will not apply. That we will have to bring in a knowledge of not only the consumer, but a lot of behavioral patterns. And that is where the automation started happening. And companies within NASSCOM flourished. Some of them have billion-dollar practices. I mean, NASSCOM today is about $150 billion industry, $108 billion of exports, and there is no company in the world, whether the largest retail company called Walmart or some of the startups, whether in India or overseas, that NASSCOM companies don't serve. So clearly the demand pattern is very, very high. Digital is disrupting many industries. If you guys recall, the Barnes & Noble was the first one to be disrupted. That a brick company disappeared and it was taken over by a click, and which is an Amazon. Today, Amazon is a Kindle company or a cloud company or a largest retail store in the world, you guys decide. But the reality is the technology made Amazon what it is today. Technology has made Flipkart what it is today. Yesterday you had an award ceremony. You saw Grey Orange, I mean, as one of the companies winning that award. Which is this? A Noida-based company, robos, warehouse management, and so on and so forth. So the point I'm trying to make is that in business, the market, is the brick to click happening fast enough? Is the brick and click going to coexist, or will it be only click? I guess each one of you can debate this forever. And most of us will spend only time in thinking about the click companies because they seem to be growing the fastest. But I would like to say is that, guys, when you look at technology, look at all the three segments. Because technology is needed to make Macy's as much successful as Macy's online. It is required as much to make a big bazaar successful as much as it is required to make a big basket successful. And that technology, and this is where NASSCOM and all of you are now today partnering. Because that technology is not coming only from established players. I know we have a lot of sponsors here which are the established players. I mean, they're talking about CRM, they're talking about retail software, they're talking about consulting, but a lot of new disruptions are coming from the startups. And those startups are mind-blowing at the cost that they're giving you the disruption. So I'll give you an example. Day before yesterday, a company came to see me. This is a company of 4 people from a city called Bhilwara in Rajasthan. They were employing artificial intelligence tools to do a scan for you, do a product comparison for you, and to do a price comparison for you, and to tell you where to buy from. And they're doing it obviously free to you. Now, 4 people company, obviously they are using bots. They're using artificial intelligence. They're using expert systems. And this is a company, it's called ReadyView or something. But the point here was, I was just thinking to myself, would my son use this company? I mean, he is in online apparel. I mean, I know that it's easy to compare a product feature of a TV or a cell phone or compare a Xiaomi with a Apple. But the reality is that it is a trip advisor. A TripAdvisor which gives you a rating on a hotel, a Zomato which gives you a rating on a restaurant. Now only have, it's not sudden, it's been there for a long time. But the point is, it is impacting the retail industry. And it is a technology that can be used by the retail industry to reach out and be able to communicate a lot better than in the past. And again, I'm saying that technology makes all the difference. Reality is that most of you would have discussed it in one of your conferences, those beautiful Apple stores. Think about it again. You know, a Xiaomi can come in and become one of the largest cell phone Apple lookalike, maybe an Android, and do it only on online and be a very hugely successful and a profitable company. Why would an Apple try and create a customer experience? Why would an Apple try and hire somebody from Burberry to run their retail business channel? Why would a technology company actually marry a retail? Because clearly technology is the differentiator, technology is the cutting edge, technology is the one that not only measures your customer experience or enhances your customer experience, but technology is the one which will allow you to focus better on your market. And I do believe that all of you put together out here realize that the best product in the world is useless till it has the market. The best food in the world, you may be the best chef, it is useless unless we are able to reach out. And what is enabling each one of us to do a multiplier effect, it doesn't matter whether we are a big company or a small company, is that ease of communication. That ease of communication through social media. I mean, it's not a, Satya Nadella's hobby that he goes around signing $26 billion checks. I mean, it is not Mark Zuckerberg's hobby that he will sign a $19 billion check for a WhatsApp. It is a reach. It is a power of being able to build businesses around that reach. Question all of us have to ask is that are we marrying our business, our technology, and a collaboration with entrepreneurship, a collaboration with startups with the right aim, with the right stretch goal for ourselves? Are we really using the startup ecosystem to crowdsource ideas, sometimes to ask for help? Because most of us also forget is that we may not have all the answers. Can we ask for help? I mean, again, it is not only about, saying that I know the problem. Sometimes it is defining a problem or asking for a solution. And that's where I find a lot of young companies willing to ask for help. It's the same way. I know that in your audience you would have gurus from Titan. Why is it considered one of the best retail companies today? Why is it that they are able to coexist with a LensCraft and still be able to do in something which is not really their core business? They are selling lenses, they are selling jewelry. So my point is that in today's experience, it is about product and it is about technology, and more important is it is about reaching out. So I would like to, again, as I said, I want to keep it very, very interactive, but my request to all of you is that define your stretch goals, because that will help you. I mean, a Flipkart today, if it is a challenger, or a Snapdeal, if it has got some of the unique products, if it is somebody who is experimenting with virtual reality or an augmented reality, how does that apply into your business? I mean, all of you read the same newspapers. I mean, you would be correlating in your own mind. For example, somebody would have read yesterday, day before, that a medical school in Manipal believes that they will be able to handle more cancer patients, they will be more accurate with their cancer patients because they're using cognitive analytics. Now, why can't I use cognitive analytics in my business? And if I'm going to use cognitive analytics in my business, how do I correlate? How do I define that problem? How do I define it into a stretch goal? I think most of us it will help if we start from the stretch goal, and instead of only trying to solve a problem, sometimes redefine the business. So I'm going to take a pause here and, really open it up for questions. As I said, I could go on and on, but the important part is, how do you marry entrepreneurship? How do you marry technology? How do you marry your stretch goals in retail? And how do we all work together to create more and more successful businesses out of India? The market is huge. I know you guys would have discussed it. I know you would have discussed it that retail is only, at least the e-commerce and m-commerce has only scratched the surface. You guys would have discussed that the population of India is fairly untapped, and that is why, the rise of Internet of Things, rise of Internet of Everything, I mean, the better ecosystem is developing in tier 2, tier 3 towns, and it is only helping the economy. I can only say from my perspective is that when I think of retail, unfortunately for me, retail has become airports. And till the time I realized that Dubai airport, through which I pass very often, is about $4 billion of business. I mean, how many of us had even thought till a few years ago that majority of my shopping, and I'm not kidding, I met a Morgan Stanley executive the other day. She was carrying 3 or 4 bags at the Delhi airport. I said, shopping in Delhi? She said, this is the best place. It's got every kind of a retail store. Now think about it. Now, do you think there is no technology being applied at that retail store? They probably profiled a person like me. They profiled what I'm likely to buy. They probably profiled, Dubai airport profiled that people are passing through Dubai, they will buy gold. They will buy XYZ. You would have never thought that they sell, that orange drink Tang or whatever in thousands. They sell soaps. And people buy it. So somebody would have profiled that buyer, right? Somebody would have looked at that buying behavior and used it judiciously. Otherwise, the most expensive real estate in the world, why would people be carrying a $3 product? So again, all I'm trying to re-emphasize is each of these markets can be repositioned. Each of these product categories can be repositioned. Each of these operating efficiencies can be improved. Each of the reach or outreach programs that you have can be made better. Each of the feedback programs can be made a lot better if we can use technology. So I'm going to take now seriously a pause and open it up for questions. Is it okay,
if you have a question,
yeah?
Raise your hand. We'll have a microphone passed to you. Announce, identify yourself, and please keep the questions short and to the point.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gurnani. I think it's wonderful that you spoke about the things that people have to think about.
Can we have some more volume on the mic, please?
Yeah. Hi, this is Kumar Rajgopalan. I'm calling. Yeah, okay. So the question that I had in mind, and because we are talking about various retailers in India, and we see that when we do an event like this, there are some retailers who are out there thinking about what's happening, wanting to tie up with technology companies and do a few experiments. And you gave a few mantras about what they'll need to do. There are also some retailers who are back in their offices who send 1 or 2 of their representatives, but the bosses themselves are not here, and they expect that there is going to be some feedback which will tell them what's happening. From your company's experience with working with some of the global and having given solutions to various types of retailers, is there any DNA that you found which made you almost sure that this kind of retailer would be able to use technology to the best and get the best out of it? Because I think lots of retailers keep experimenting. Many of them also fail, and some of them really do a good job. So what are those things that really makes them different?
The first part is recognizing. So there are two DNAs. Like for example, if we go back into our own societal entrepreneurship, a Marwadi from Pali would cross borders, I mean, he would go to Calcutta, he would leave his village, he would leave his town and create a business, because to him, you know, if you don't leave the shores, you will never cross the ocean. Same pattern you see in a Sardarji, you see the same pattern in a Gujarati, right? So yes, there is a DNA, but I'm not a genome scientist, so I'm not going to. And that's why I use the word person who has a stretch goal. A person who is willing to experiment, a person who is willing to make mistakes is likely to be an early adopter. Now in today's environment, and you guys have heard enough stories, and that's why I was very conscious of not repeating those stories, that like I had an executive who made a fortune out of eBay. And I asked that young lady, you know, she was a wife of one of my colleagues. I said, what do you do? I mean, she said, I sell ladies' purses on eBay. And I said, ladies' purses on eBay? Oh, so you travel to X or Y or Z? She said, no, I go and buy from Target, Walmart and Macy's. And eBay, everybody is in auctioning mode. And they think they are getting a better deal. They don't have the time to go around comparing. I am a lady, I understand what they want to buy, and that is where I actually don't travel anywhere. I go around in her town in New Jersey, go to 7 or 8 retail stores, buy it from there and put it on eBay, and I make 20-30%. Now, isn't that an experiment?
Oh, completely.
You know, she would actually wipe out the whole store of Target and pick up all the 20% because she doesn't want anybody else to have the excess and do a price comparison. This I'm talking of 10-15 years ago. So my point is that the fundamental point is that A, we as NASSCOM, we as Retail Association of India, number one, have to re-emphasize that the disruption is happening. That a fact of life is that while Amazon creates 100,000 new jobs, it is also taking away somebody's job. It may be the market, but it is also killing somebody's market. And the only way for you to be riding ahead of them is by realizing somebody is disrupting, but it is also creating opportunities for you. So my personal feeling is that we have to do a better job of communicating, be ready to be disrupted. The statistics have proven that retail industry is the second largest industry which is getting disrupted. I mean, if we can create that awareness, then I guess the fight for survival will come in. And as the fight for survival will come in, people will differentiate themselves. People will like to, as I said, solve their challenges.
Okay, that's all we have, sir. That's
Sorry,
all.
one more question before. The other question is lots of CIOs in the place. The question that always comes from them is, I'm looked at as a cost center, and many a times it's difficult to get my CEOs to really open up and think, okay, this is something that I'm going to invest into. Is there any Guru Mantra for that?
I have my colleagues here, so I can only tell you is that there is no CEO which is now not willing to listen to CIO. That means the CIO has to make his voice a little louder, but every CEO in his boardroom is being asked a question. Is technology going to disrupt my business? Is technology going to multiply my business? Is technology come to create new markets for my business? Is technology going to increase my profitability? Is technology going to increase my productivity? Is technology going to increase my operating efficiency? And if every boardroom is discussing it, I think that my friendly CIO, I can only request him is, maybe he's not answering those questions, or maybe we are not well informed. Because There is no CEO, no boardroom where this discussion is not taking place.